Welcome to the Health and Happiness Show. I, Janet Hawkins, will be your host this evening. And so here we are, a new season, a new month. So I hope everyone is enjoying the sunshine while we have it, because you know the dark days are right around the corner for us. So we have a new season change, and we know what that means. We need to be proactive and keep the immune system strong. And we're going to talk about that in a bit. But just if this is your first time checking in and watching the show, I am a doctor, a naturopath, and my passion is sharing with you having quality of health and aging gracefully. So first of all, what we need to do is watch our diet and try to do as many organic and go by the dirty dozen list. And of course we need to exercise. We have to move or we're going to lose. And then we need to de-stress. We're in a very stressful world today. And then also we need to get sufficient sleep so the body can restore and repair itself. And then attitude is critical. We have to be very positive. In the world that we're in today, it's the unknown, and we tend to question what is going to happen. So we have to have faith and move on. So what I do is I see clients, it's usually by appointment, and I do saliva and urine testing. And like I have a client coming tomorrow, and we'll bring up a little picture of what we do with the saliva and urine testing. It'll go in and tell us if we have a viral. And it'll also tell us if we have how the mitochondria is working. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell. And we have to keep it functioning so we have quality of life and have good energy as well. And I'll tell you how your circulation is moving. I have started on a new product, and it's called Fatty 15. And I've only been on it for like probably 2.5 weeks since I came back from Las Vegas. And I use myself as the lab rat. So I'm going to use this and see how it works. And this is why I'm showing you the printout. Green is normal, yellow is subnormal, orange is moderate, and red needs attention. So I am back all in the green zone. And a little weakness in the adrenals, imagine that, because sometimes I'm under the fire a little bit there. And then the kidneys are a little weak as well, which I support them as well. So this is what I do for a majority of the clients, so we get a base on where we are at this time. And then I include the iridology with it as well. And of course we muscle test. And muscle test is where everything has energy, and if you need it, you hold it up to your chest, and then if your arm stays up really strong when I push on it, it means you need it. Everything has energy. May it be this apple here, may it be a pumpkin, may it be a flower, may it be a tree. Everything has energy, and it gives off a vibration, and our body can pick up on that, and it helps me decide, helps us decide what you need. Like say, for example, if we have some circulatory weaknesses, we may consider some hawthorn, which is food for your heart. We may consider some BP, which is a blood pressure formula for high blood pressure. We may consider some CoQ10, which is going to go in and feed the mitochondria. And then maybe some OCM, which is an oral chelation to go in and clean out all the arteries. So what we do is we'll muscle test all of these and then decide which one is best for you, because you will pick up the energy and we will decide which one is best. And I think it's best if you're just a new person starting out into the holistic field, not to put you on more than 5 supplements. If you want to add more, fine, you can do that. But we try to get to the core of improving your report. Of course, I do the iridology with the consultation. That's where I look in your irises, and I studied with Dr. Jensen back in the late 90s. But I said I need to go further, and that's why I do the saliva and urine test. And I like it because I can give you a report. If you know your blood type, it will tell you what foods you need to take and eat, and what you need to avoid, and what is neutral. So that is a plus as well. And then we have you come back in 6 to 8 weeks as long as you follow the program. You know, get your exercise, maybe change your diet a little bit, and take your supplements. It's called a whole plan on getting your body back into balance. And then we come back in 6 to 8 weeks and we do the test again. And then we take it from there, and then we usually try to do it at least once a year to keep your body back on track. So I just wanted to share that with you because, many times you will hear me at a show or maybe at a conference, and you're saying, oh, I think I need this, I need this. So we will muscle test you and see what you need. So just returning from Las Vegas, the end of August, I was at the American Naturopath Medical Association conference, and I was very blessed to study with Dr. Bob. He's from Oregon, and I was getting to the root cause, and that's where I was introduced to the Fatty 15. The Fatty 15 is going to go in and it's anti-aging, and it's going to go in and help improve the cells that are damaged. And that's why I showed you the report. I mean, I couldn't believe the difference from 1 month ago on how many greens I had. I mean, my immune system's always been a little on the weaker side, and usually I have heavy metals, and they have totally gone back to the green zone. But for the heavy metals, I personally use the Pure Body Extract, the spray, and then I have the Fatty 15. And what's so cool about it, this is a Fatty 15, and you take 1 or 2 a day, and then it's so nice, you keep the glass bottle, and they're into recycling as well. And this is, you just refill the bottle whenever the month supply is up. So if you have interest in that, of course, I would muscle test you, and then I can give you the information on how we can order it for you. So I just wanted to share that with you. And of course, the conference was excellent. I studied with Ellen Jensen, who worked with Dr. Jensen, the father of iridology in this country, and it was a great experience. A lot of lectures. I'm also considering carrying some products that are from Germany, because Germany uses a lot of homeopathics and different formulas, and I thought it would be nice to incorporate that with the other different products that I carry as well, because I don't like to be a one-man company. I usually pick up on different things as well. But one thing that I would like to share with you, out of Dr. Bob's class, there's one thing. There is an oil that we all need to use in our home, and that is coconut oil. Use it for baking. Use it anytime you need oil. I use it to cook my scrambled eggs, fry my eggs, anything. Don't use any other of the vegetable oils or the corn oil. What they do is to produce like a rust internally. So we need to do the coconut oil, and I prefer it be organic as well. And you can get that at Aldi's or at Mark's at a reduced price as well. So that's one thing that I really emphasize is coconut oil, because a lot of the oils today are GMOs. Soy oil is an absolute no corn oils, none of that. So I'm just trying to share that with you, because we are coming into the holiday season where you may be baking. Like I made zucchini bread 2 weeks ago. It was fine. I've been using the coconut oil for at least probably 5 years, way ahead of the game, but it really enforced what Dr. Bob had to say. So, and then grounding is so important as well. And just remember, the weather is still nice. Get out there and walk. Feel the energy from nature, and if you can, walk in your bare feet, of course. And then I have the grounding pillows, and also the little pads that go in your hands and feet, if you're interested in that as well. Now, one thing we can't forget, it is the season change. So you know what that means. We need to go in and clean up. And again, I would muscle test you. We have different cleanses. This is my favorite one, the Thai Heat Cleanse. It's more deep. We need to dive right in, and we're going to go in and clean it up. It's got a formula for your liver, because that is what does all the filtering when we're exposed. We're on our salt 24/7 from the foods we are eating, from the air, the water. We're constantly exposed to toxins, so we have to be our own CEO. So again, I would muscle test you. I will be at Belden Village at the Holiday Inn on October 6th. That's a Sunday. And I'll be doing consultations there, of course, no charge. So if you're free, you can stop in as well. Then I'll be, I believe, in Salem, and I'm not sure of the address. I didn't check that out, I'm sorry. And that will be the end of October as well. So anyway, we would muscle test you for this, and then of course we all need to consider doing our chlorophyll. Remember, I always remind you about the chlorophyll. I have a lot of clients that'll pick up 2 bottles because I have one lady is leaving for Arizona, and she has bought 4, so she will take them with her. And also, the shelf life is 2 years. This is going to go in and detox you. It's going to balance your pH, because when we're too acidic, that is when disease begins. And also, if you tend to be anemic, it'll go in and help you as well. So remember, we have the chlorophyll, and then we have the Tahi cleanse. The Tahi cleanse, like I said, goes in and cleans the liver. It has burdock in it, which is going to go in and clean your blood. It also has some psyllium hulls, some LBS, long, brown, and smooth, and some black walnut in case there's any parasites. So you're covering everything, cleaning you up internally, and in case there's any parasites, we're getting rid of those as well. So just remember, health is wealth. And then also, don't forget, take your vitamin D3, because now it's getting dark. I know last night I think it was dark about 7:30, 7:45. So you know what's going to happen come November. It's going to be 5 o'clock. So, and we get a lot of our vitamin D from the sun. It helps your heart. It helps your immune system. It's beneficial for your bones as well. So that's very proactive. And one other little thing I would add to your winter routine is olive leaf. That works against viral, bacteria, candida, and parasites. Starting to get the sniffles? Here you go. Start taking this, and it'll take care of everything. So also, we can't forget, even though it's October, we can plant still some lettuce and some cold vegetables as well. Which brings me to our guest tonight, is Cindy Petitti from Petitti's Organic Greenhouse.
Yes,
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being
Oh,
here.
I know. I mean, we always have good times whenever we get
We do.
together.
Yes,
Okay,
we do.
so
Yeah.
so there's other plants we can plant as well?
Really, so it's getting late to plant other crops, some of the cold crops by seed. So it's a little too late to start cabbage, broccoli, those things from seed, but we still have them at the greenhouse.
Right, in plants.
So in plants that we started like back in July. But from seed, you can definitely do, thanks.
Yeah, we
you
need
can
to do
seed all winter long indoors for your lettuce, beets, radishes, Swiss chard, kale. We grow them year round in the greenhouse.
Nice.
So we have one big bed that we have set up in the greenhouse, and we grow cool crops all winter long. And then we have certain areas that we have built up that we grow tomatoes and peppers in. And the tomatoes, we'll have tomatoes until the end of February. Peppers usually only through about mid-January, because they need more.
So do you have these products for sale, like whenever you have fresh tomatoes
So
and lettuce?
what we do, we hold and harvest for our winter indoor farmers markets.
Okay.
We do farmers markets on the first and third Saturday of each month, starting in November, the first Saturday of November, and they run the first and third Saturday through the first Saturday of April.
Nice.
And so we save our harvests so that we have them for those farmers markets.
Nice.
Now, sometimes if we're heavy on kale or lettuce and someone comes in and they need to make a salad that night,
Right.
we'll go out and harvest for them. But we try to keep it for that farmer's market. So people come to the market, they're wanting a lot of times fresh produce that they
Right.
aren't getting at farmer's markets elsewhere because they aren't going on.
Right.
And then this way they get to have those fresh vegetables. So we'll have the tomatoes, and then like lettuce, we'll do radishes. And so we do like a salad mix.
Nice.
And it'll have the tomatoes in it, the radishes. It's ready to go. Really, it's rinsed, so you could take it home, pour it in the bowl, cut up the radish, cut up the tomato, and you have your salad ready.
So you have it prepackaged. Is it
have them
like a
prepackaged.
small, medium, and large, or how does that work?
Actually, we do them one size.
Okay.
They run $3.50. It's a
Nice.
mix of different lettuces, kale, and Swiss chard. So you're getting those extremely nutritious greens all mixed in a salad blend together. And then we always top them off with some edible flowers. We grow nasturtium year-round, pansies, violas, different things that you can throw in your salad,
How
make
fun.
it really pretty.
Yeah.
It's really
and
fun.
of course, it's all organic.
Right, and
So
it's
what
all
better
organic.
can we ask?
Right.
You've already prepared for
Right,
us.
they're already
Just
ready
put it
to
in
go,
and
right.
then make your own salad dressing, of course.
Make your own salad dressing.
Right.
Right. And there are, like I use avocado oil for my salad dressing.
Right.
A much healthier oil.
Well, that's what I use too, because I had talked to Dr. Bob about that, and he said still coconut oil,
Right.
which that's fine. I'll use that for baking and everything
Right,
else.
me
But
too.
for my salad dressing, it's going to be the
It's
avocado
oil. Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it works out very well.
right.
And it's very nutritious for you too. So if you make that, then you have that salad. And then also, continuing with the farmer's market, we have an organic sourdough bread baker, and we have a microgreen grower that grows microgreens organically. So you could add that to your salad too, different things like that. So there's a lot of different vendors, and it runs from 10 to 1, and just like I said, twice a month. So it's a nice little market. And then what we do, we depending on what we have, like if we're doing leeks, there's a lot of people that doesn't know what to do with a leek. Leeks are very healthy and very good for you and useful. So we'll make something like potato leek soup and then have the recipe so that
Nice.
people know how to do something with those leeks.
See, that's
So
very good
they
because
can make them.
right, because people I'm going to have some applesauce, make that for next month, because people they're like, make applesauce. I
Right.
said it's very simple.
Exactly.
I mean, I grew up
Right.
with that.
And sort of last year we did a sauerkraut demonstration.
Right, exactly.
Sauerkraut is so easy to make, really. You're shredding your cabbage
Right.
and you have salt.
Yes.
2 ingredients, and it is amazing how easy it really is. And we do that we start a batch of sauerkraut at our fall festival, which is this month, October 19th, sorry.
Okay.
So we'll be starting our sauerkraut, and then we'll have that for folks to sample at our last farmers market of December. And then that way, if they want some, they can get it for their New Year's celebrations and those kind of things.
So how many vendors do you have at your farmers market?
it
varies.
It varies. November and December are usually still pretty heavy with vendors. We'll have 12 or 13. January and February, we have some snowbirds and things like that. We'll probably have 8 or 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's still it's intimate. It's small. So we can have different things going on.
Right.
Sometimes we have entertainment. We do a chili cook-off during one of them in February.
Very
So
good.
it's small enough that we can all have a really good time, and I can make something for everyone to try.
Well, yes, 'cause I know last year I went over when didn't you have classes on raising bees and
We
things?
did. Actually, we have a homesteading workshop.
That's right.
And it is on a Sunday afternoon. It's also this month on the 13th. And it's a Sunday afternoon. We do 5 classes on homesteading, and one is food preservation.
Right.
And we teach canning, freezing, dehydrating,
Absolutely, yes.
fermentation, pickling. And then we do backyard chicken farming and processing. So we teach you how to process your own birds as well. And then somebody gets to take home a processed bird,
How fun.
And then we do the bees. We have an apiarist come and talk about backyard, bee farming. And then we do medicinal weeds and herbs. And then I do one on soil nutrition and how to keep your soil nutritious so that it can feed your plant. It's best to feed the soil and
Right.
let the soil feed the plant.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that today, how to keep our soil nutritious so that it can feed the plant, and then your plant is more nutritious. The produce that you're harvesting from that is more nutritious.
That and plus probably better quality as
Definitely.
well, and more product as well.
More product as
Yes,
well,
exactly.
because then you have a healthier plant and it's producing more because it is healthy, and the nutrients in that fruit or vegetable
Right.
is more nutritious as
Now,
well.
do you can as well? Because
I do.
You do? Now, what do you can?
Not as much as I would like to.
Well,
because
yes,
I'm
I understand
busy.
time-wise,
Right.
yes.
But I do pickles. I do a mustard, pepper relish.
Okay.
I do corn, and I freeze my corn usually. I like
Right,
frozen
right,
corn
right.
very well.
Freezing is always much
Right.
better for corn.
But I like canned green beans, so I can green beans. I'll freeze some too. I always can my spaghetti sauce, and then I also make jams and jellies. So
So you're busy.
I have a fig tree that I harvest so many figs from it that I can't eat them all. So I freeze them as they come ready,
Right.
and then I take them out and I'll make fig preserves. And it's a wonderful Christmas gift because
Very nice.
it's really nice to give something like that as a Christmas gift. And not too many people have even had fig preserves, and so it's really nice to be able to do that.
Very
so
nice.
yeah, so I do. I would like to be a true homesteader and make everything.
But it takes time.
But it takes time,
Yes,
and when you
exactly.
run a business
I
as well
totally
as the
relate.
farm.
Yes,
It's hard to have
Right.
time to do everything. And I know how important sleep is. And the older I get, the more I realize how important sleep is and how my body really needs it. So I know I need to get that sleep. And when I was younger, I didn't do that. I would just stay up all night canning.
Yeah.
And
No, not
I was
anymore.
like,
No.
but not anymore. I'm like, you know what? Nope. I know my body. It's telling me it's time to go to bed.
Well, that's like I can the tomato juice and the whole tomatoes. Those are my two
Oh,
that
right.
I can. But I use the old recipe of my grandmother's, and it takes me like all day to make it because
You're cooking it down.
exactly.
Right?
I use parsley, I use onions, celery, because I usually plant my own celery as well.
Me too.
Exactly. So we're on the same page.
Yeah, I love, and that is another crop that if you plant your celery in a pot, you can bring it in. I always have celery till March.
Wow, I hadn't thought of bringing it in the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
I plant my celery in a pot every year.
Okay.
And then in late November, because it can handle a little frost,
Right.
I will bring it in the house, and then I use it all winter long.
Okay.
I just cut when I need a piece.
I will have to do that, okay, because I do that with my lettuce. Because I'm on my second crop in my lettuce right now. Because there's nothing nicer than going out and picking my lettuce.
Nothing. Yeah, it's great. And I do like other things. Like I've done Brussels sprouts in a pot,
Okay.
and then brought my whole pot in. I'll harvest Brussels sprouts till February or March too.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And the Brussels sprouts doesn't need it very warm at all.
Okay.
So you can bring them into the garage as long as they get some sunlight. That's enough heat for them.
Because I remember picking the Brussels sprouts in November, going out
yeah.
in the garden and cutting
Definitely.
them off.
Oh yeah, I harvest. That's when I usually harvest my Brussels sprouts.
Right.
Because I plant a little bit later, so they're never ready until November.
Which
yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're so good.
Right, they are.
Nutritious.
They're so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's amazing. So,
Okay.
like we said earlier about, it's really important to do your fertilizing so that you're feeding the soil and let the soil feed the plant. And that's going to be true with everything, not just our vegetables, even our trees and shrubs. That is really. So I brought some fertilizers with me today. Fall is a great time to do your fertilization. So this one is Flower Tone, and this is what I fertilize all my perennial beds with. Or around all my perennials if they are planted amongst my shrubs in a bed. And this one is great because it really helps with your flowering. It's a little higher in phosphorus, and this is going to help next year. So if your perennials, you're like, they still come up, but they just don't have that vibrant color, or they're not flowering as long as they used to, Flower Tone will really help that. So when you're doing your fall cleanup, that's the most convenient and really the best time to do it. So you're going to cut the plant off. It's going into its dormancy. You put the fertilizer around the base of the plant, and then you let it go all winter long.
So you just sprinkle it around.
You just sprinkle it right around, like where the drip line would have been if let's say it's your echinacea. And, if the drip line was about out to here, but the little stalk is here, you put the fertilizer out where that drip line was.
Okay.
Because that's where the root system is most fibrous and where it pulls in the most nutrients. So you just put that right around that area and you're good to go. And you can do that around each individual perennial that you have.
Now, will that work for roses as well?
It will. A
Okay.
spoma has a rose tone, so that you could do it for roses. It's a little bit higher in acidity because they like a little bit more acidity than, but you know, definitely this will work for your roses as well. But a really nice one to use. Now also, for your, this is probably the most well-known Espoma product out there. This is Holly Tone. And Holly Tone is what you use, of course, on your hollies, but this is the one that you will use on your rhododendrons, your azaleas, your hydrangeas, your dogwoods, all of your evergreens.
Nice.
Like about this same mix of, and this balance that they have in this one. And again, you're gonna put it right around the drip line of the plant, again in the fall. The plant going dormant, this means none of these nutrients are going to new shoots or to new flower. Fertilizing it now feeds that soil so that the soil can feed that root system all winter long. When that's the only thing that's growing during the winter is just the root system. So this feeds that root system so that next year when the plant starts growing in April, it's going to flourish because it had all of that root, all of that fertilizer feeding that soil all winter, and it could pull the nutrients from there. Now, again, I recommend fertilizing in the spring again to help with abundant growth. But I always tell everyone, you know, if you can't afford to fertilize more than once a year, and this goes from everything from your fruit trees or your vegetable plants all the way through to your lawn, fertilize in the fall, because you will see the biggest results from fall fertilizing than any other time.
Interesting.
It really feeds that plant.
Very
So
good.
the Holly Tone is great for that. And with like your lawn, fertilize your lawn in the fall. November fertilizing is the greatest. Again, the grass is going dormant. It's going to feed that root system all winter long. And then you will see, like if you didn't fertilize this year and you marked on your calendar when your grass started greening up and you fertilize this fall, you will see a 2-week difference at least in how early your grass greens up next year.
Interesting.
In the spring.
Yes.
So it makes a huge difference on how much earlier your grass will green up, but not as much in growth. And we all like that. You know, in the spring, it grows automatically faster than it does in the late summer and into the fall.
Right, because now it's getting very cold.
Right, and we're always like, because it's so wet in the spring, so that just makes the grass grow. So we don't really want it growing any faster in the spring, but we want it to green up more quickly. And so that will really help with that and just really feed that, that grass so it doesn't get some of the diseases that it can get in the spring or in the winter with snow mold or too much rain in the springtime. We'll have some disease issues. If you fertilize in the fall, you'll probably never have that happen.
Well, it's just like our vitamin D for us.
Exactly.
We are feeding our
Exactly.
environment, our nutrients, and we need this for quality products in whenever
Definitely.
we're planting our garden, or maybe you have some pots outside or
Exactly,
around
right.
your house. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Another thing that we're all doing right now in the fall is planting our bulbs.
Yes.
And so when you're planting your bulbs, it's very important to fertilize them, but also if you planted bulbs in the past, and a lot of times you'll see after a few years, your tulips might come up, but they're not flowering, or they're just not flowering as nice or as long or as deep color. Bulb tone is a great one to use for all of your bulbs. And this includes your garlic. Garlic is a bulb.
Yes.
So when you're planting your garlic, you have the bulb, you pull apart your cloves, you plant the clove, use a little bit of a bulb fertilizer. You will be pleasantly surprised next July when you're pulling your garlic and harvesting it, how much bigger your bulb is if you're using a bulb fertilizer. It's really high in phosphorus, so it's really going to get that root system going strong this fall, so you start good development, and you will be so happy with how your garlic looks in the spring.
Now, tell me about the garlic, because that's one thing I haven't planted before.
So
now
fall,
is the time.
Yeah, fall planting is, if you want big garlic, nice size big garlic, fall time is your time to plant your garlic, and then you'll harvest. I usually tell people, check them right around the 4th of July, because usually right around that time, within a week of 4th of July, your garlic is ready to harvest, and you should have nice big bulbs.
So when you say harvest, you dig it up?
Yep, and actually
let it dry?
You pull it up. You can use it right away.
Right.
But if you want to be able to hold it
Yes.
all winter, yes, you want to let it dry outside in the sun. Let it get good and dry. Some people will lay several out, and then they'll braid them together while they're still green, and then they'll hang them up. And let them dry that way. So it works out wonderfully. And then you can have garlic, all winter long.
Yeah, exactly. And
I eat lots of garlic.
And you don't have to freeze it or anything, just air dry.
You just air dry. Yep.
That's good to know. Very good.
It's really nice. Now, if you want to have it where you make your own garlic powder, then dehydrating it
I've done that.
is a little bit better, because then it will get so dry that it's really easy to throw in like your Ninja or your Vitamix, and then make it into a powder.
Yeah, because I have a Vitamix, and I made my horseradish one year.
Oh,
Yeah, and oh my goodness, I was crying and everything else. Yeah,
exactly. I know. That's
nice.
definitely true. Yeah, and this is also the time of year that we want to start doing our composting. And if you haven't composted in the past, and you're just getting started, in the fall, the leaves, the brown dead leaves that are falling, they take a lot longer to decompose than green does. So when you're starting that compost, make sure that you have a base layer of green. Now, normally I never tell anyone to pick up their grass, because I think that's a waste of money. You have good nitrogen in that grass blade that you just cut off. Why take it off your yard? Let it decompose right there. But if you're starting a compost pile and you need extra green to get started, it's always a good idea, pick your grass up once and let that be your base. And then put your brown on. You always want, if you can, for the quickest decomposition, twice as much green as you have brown. So you have your layer of grass in there, or even some green weeds or whatever you have pulled. Then you put your leaves on. Then you can put another layer of green. But if you sprinkle a compost starter, this has billions of strands of microbes, and it gets that decomposition starting much more quickly. So it's going to be, your compost will be ready to use and ready to benefit your garden or your flower beds much more quickly if you do use a compost starter. It's going to help that going.
All right, so the one container there, one bag, that should be sufficient depending on the size?
Right. So for the average homeowner that's producing their own compost, one bag should do you an entire year. Even if in the springtime you still rake up some more dead leaves that you missed in the fall or that blew in from the neighbor, and you have some more brown to put on, adding more of this should definitely do you an entire year for sure. And that's another thing,
because I have chickens. Remember, I got those.
Exactly.
Thank you for being my little coach and helping me with that. I grew up with them, but there's little. I love the chickens. They are so. Their energy is excellent.
Oh,
it's the best
it's wonderful.
Can say.
I think everyone should have 6 chickens.
Well, yeah, because I go outside, they see me, and they come right up to me. It's like they feel.
Well, they know who's taking care of them.
Exactly.
And they appreciate it.
And plus, I can give them my apple cores, my peelings, things like that, and they love it.
Oh, they absolutely love it. My chickens get all of my food scraps.
Yeah, same with this. And my daughter brings hers over as well.
Right.
And now this will be the first winter, so Any suggestions on the winter?
Well, I have a thermometer in
Right.
and
Okay.
it's a plug-in thermometer.
Okay.
So then I have a heat light that plugs into it.
Nice.
And it's like a thermostat, I guess.
Okay.
And it makes the heat light come on if it goes below 34 in my chicken coop.
Okay, good idea, because we
And
were
then-
talking about that.
And it will definitely help them not use as many calories in the winter staying warm, so that they can still produce
Eggs.
for
Yes,
you.
yes.
And the other thing is, I just don't want my girls to be cold.
Right,
You know?
exactly, yes,
And
yeah.
in the wintertime, they're spending more time in the coop because they go in the coop when it gets dark.
Right.
They
yes,
don't want.
they know.
They
absolutely.
know.
But the
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
one rooster that I had gotten from you, he loves to sleep in the pine tree.
Yes, you know what? I have a couple roosters
Okay.
that like to sleep out in a tree.
Right. And I think he's a banty rooster, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because is he rather young?
Um,
Because his crowing was a little weak at first, but now it's much
now
stronger.
it's I was going to say he's probably 8 or 10 months old.
Okay, so that
Yeah, so
explains
he's-
it.
yeah.
Because the first time he started crowing, it was like he was really
Like
struggling.
a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Yeah, that's what we make fun of.
I didn't mean
say.
to change the subject, but another thing too, because we have a compost with all the chicken manure.
Right.
So this
So
is
good.
great time to put that around
That
the rhubarb. Any other
Right.
suggestions on
Yeah,
how to use it?
Yeah, your chicken manure in your compost is excellent. Just make sure that it has decomposed some before you put it around your rhubarb.
Well, of course.
Because you don't want it to be too hot.
Right.
But yeah, fall is a great time
Yeah.
to put your old chicken manure around your rhubarb.
Okay.
My grandmother always swore that that's what made great rhubarb was chicken manure.
Right.
And it's amazing. It works
Good.
out very well. And also, it's really good. A lot of people that grow asparagus likes chicken manure. It
Okay.
is high in nitrogen, and so I think that really helps that asparagus with all the green that's in it. It needs a lot of nitrogen.
Yes.
But they'll mix that in heavy with their compost, and then put that over top of their asparagus in the fall. And it really feeds that all winter long, and it does really well. Yeah, I just think the chicken manure is probably one of the best things.
Yeah.
So another reason to have chickens, not
Right.
just having eggs, but
Right.
And then again, at the end, I usually only keep my chickens 2 years, and then I process them. And they're not a huge chicken. You don't get big boneless, skinless chicken breasts for sure.
Right.
But I'll cook the whole thing. Last week I cooked we call them stewing birds, but I cooked one down. It was plenty enough meat on there for my husband and I.
Right.
And it works out wonderfully. Then I made gravy, threw some of my green beans in at the last few minutes and let them steam in there, and my green beans were ready. So you can use those birds. Now, I usually will cook down maybe 15 or 20 a year just for broth, so that we have
Right, the good broth for
Right.
noodles and things of that sort.
exactly.
Yes.
Or like if
Claro.
one of us is not feeling the greatest, how sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm just not quite myself today. Get out some broth.
Yeah.
Drink that broth down. That bone broth is so good for you. So those old hens can have some really good use. They might not be giving you eggs anymore, but they still have some good use. So we teach that in that homesteading class, how
Okay.
to process it so that you can.
So do you
those.
process your own chickens? Do you butcher them yourself? Is that what you're saying?
I
See, I don't
do-
think I could do that.
So I do process some, but when I have a whole flock that is done laying, and I might have
Yeah.
35 or 40 birds at one time, if I see that, okay, that they're all done and I don't have time for this, I do have a processor in Latonia, Ohio. It's an Amish family.
Okay.
And I'll run them all over in the morning.
Well, that I could deal with, something like that.
Right, and
yeah.
then they process them for me, and I run back over late in the evening and pick them back up. And then I just bring them, I take a cooler with me, throw them in there, bring them home.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
throw 'em
good
in
to
the
know.
freezer.
So usually they'll lay eggs for about, what, 2
About 2
years?
years, yeah.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
I'll remember that. Because a neighbor and I, actually, he's pretty much the chicken maintenance man. You know?
Right.
Jeremy's very good with that. And So in another 2 years, we'll have to start around a new
Right.
crop again.
Right,
Okay,
right.
good. So
Yeah. So I get chickens every year.
yeah, I know you
So
do. Yeah,
that
yeah.
I always have
Rotate.
chickens. Right.
Yeah.
I just rotate them out, and then that way I always have birds and always have eggs at the greenhouse.
Yeah.
We sell our eggs,
Yeah.
and always have organic eggs for sale, and that way we usually get 50 to 75 new birds every year.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
it is, but it works out well.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, I didn't mean to get off the
No,
subject,
no,
but
no worries
you know,
at all. In your landscape, if you don't have plants that like the holly tone or that need the holly tone, if you have things like lilacs or spirea, Lygelia, you have those shrubs, plant tone is the one that you would do. Same time of year, same type of process, but you would use this one instead of the holly tone. So you have different fertilizers
for different
plants,
lilacs,
depending on
evergreens.
what they like
Yeah.
and what they are needing.
Interesting.
Now, we also have a fertilizer here that is not one that a lot of people know a lot about, but this is bat guano. And bat guano is used a lot for our holistic growers that grow marijuana for their own use. And this is the fertilizer of choice for all of my marijuana growers. They love bat guano. It really does help wonderfully with great blooms at the same time of pushing growth. Bat guano, all these bags are about the same size, but this one, like, I can hold with 2 fingers. This hardly weighs anything, but it's just as full. Its volume is there,
lighter.
but it's a lighter
Right.
material. And it's been pulverized, and
And do you add this in the fall? Is
you
what you're
add
saying?
this in the fall. So you can, a lot of people right now are
Because they're
starting a
harvesting.
crop. Right, they're starting their new crop for indoor right now.
Oh,
If you, so you do 2 crops a year. In most cases, most marijuana growers will do 2 crops a year. They'll do a spring crop that they leave outside, and then they start again in like September, and all those ones are done in containers, and then they bring those inside.
so whenever they do them inside, do they have to be like in sunlight?
They
or
have
can
to
it
be
dark?
in huge amounts of light.
Okay.
That's why LED lights has helped marijuana growers so much, because before the light, that's how they used to find people that were growing before it was legal.
Right.
Their electric bills would go skyrocketing because
Yeah.
the lights that they used
Right.
were so high intense that it just used massive amounts of electricity.
So-
now they don't.
Say if you are growing the marijuana in the summertime, and you're going to be probably harvesting it in the next month, I'm sure. And then would you put this on the soil for next spring?
You could put
I'm
this
just
on the soil
asking
for
that.
next spring so that it's feeding the soil in that area.
Right.
And then they'll be planting. I do not grow marijuana. And I never have. I have learned from other
Right,
marijuana
because-
growers
right,
through the years.
Yes.
But they all absolutely love this product. And the ones that grew before it was legal, they were the ones that said you have to get this product in
Well,
for
and
us.
that
And
would-
now that it's legal, everyone's like, oh, we need
We
bat
want some of
guano.
this,
We
right?
need bat guano.
And that would probably be great to plant whenever you plant the marijuana in the springtime
Exactly.
as well. Is
Right.
what I'm thinking.
The other thing is, so some of my big tomato growers has turned to this product.
Oh.
Tomato plants, marijuana plants, are very closely related, and they like a lot of the same thing. So a lot of tomato growers are turning to bat guano also.
Interesting.
They have found that it is a wonderful product for them.
And I noticed the price isn't that outrageous.
Right, exactly.
It's
$11.99. It's
Yeah.
really not. $11.99 for this.
To feed a good crop?
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So this is working out very well for a lot of growers. And they really are liking this. So the last fertilizer I want to talk about, I couldn't bring a bag because it weighs 32 pounds and it's big and bulky,
Yeah.
but is millorganite. And millorganite is probably, it definitely is the oldest organic lawn fertilizer out there. A wonderful fertilizer, so good that golf courses use it, not because it's organic, but because it's so good. They can use it in the middle of the summertime because of it being organic and not burn anything when we're in a droughtful situation. But it is just an absolutely fabulous lawn fertilizer. Now, it's good for other things too, but it has its reputation is really for lawns. It does smell really bad. So we have also found, because of using it in different applications, it also keeps deer away. Because of its
that's
odor.
good to know. Absolutely, yes.
It does keep deer away. And actually that happened through golf courses using it and saying in these areas we have no deer issues.
Yes.
Other areas we have deer issues. So the Milorganite is a fabulous product. Again, if you can only fertilize once a year in your lawn, do a Milorganite fertilization in the fall. If you can, really 3 times a year is all you need to fertilize your lawn. Lawn care companies that are telling you you need 6 or 8 applications, it's because they're using the wrong fertilizer. 3 applications is plenty, and the Milorganite will make your lawn look beautiful.
And it's still safe for our pets.
It's so safe
which
for you.
is so important
So,
as well.
right, your pets, your children.
Yes.
You know, your grandchildren that are playing out in the yard, you know, 20 minutes after you're done, you know. Some of these other chemicals you do not want, you know, they even say don't let your child or your pet on till it's been watered in. Well, this year we had a drought, so what were you going to do? You know, water your whole lawn so that you could let your dog out? You know, those kind of things you had to really be careful of, and because it wasn't raining every other day or every 3 days. And so it definitely is one of those things that if you have pets or children playing in your yard, I would definitely use an organic fertilization.
Yes,
now, there are some other really good organic fertilizers. Hybrix has a really good lawn fertilizer. I really like their product. If you have some really bad issues with your lawn, I would probably say do an application of Hybrix. But if your lawn is growing, you know, nicely and things are going, but you know you need a good fertilization, Milorganite is the way to go. It's definitely a better price point too. It's been out so long, you know, it is a good price point. But I really like it. But also besides deer, it does repel rabbits. But I use it on other things too. It helps things green up very quickly. So if I have like a petunia planted in a pot with a tomato, which I do things like that to make it look pretty, and I have some, I'm not going to put on a petunia fertilizer because it's a synthetic, because my tomato plant is in there. I'll use granular Milorganite. It will green up that petunia because they are really nitrogen needy. They need it acidic, but it's also fertilizing my tomato plant, but not putting any chemical in there. Right. So it's really great for that too. So the Milorganite works out very well. Now, one thing that fertilizer doesn't control are insects and diseases. And the biggest lawn issue that we have in the insect world for our lawns are grubs. And so I brought along with me some milky spore. And if you have had grubs, and the way you'll know if you have grubs, you'll have, at this time of the year, you'll have bare spots in your lawn. Oftentimes you'll notice these bare spots and think it's because you have birds pecking at your yard or skunks digging up your yard. It's usually they're after grubs, sometimes moles also. But milky spore is a live active spore once it gets wet. So you put this down in your lawn, and actually the St. Gabriel's company guarantees it for 10 years that you will not have grubs again.
That's nice to know.
It does take about 6 to 8 weeks for the spore to actually start growing enough that it covers your whole yard. So you want to make sure. And it's a good thing I like to do it in the fall because we usually have a lot of rain in the fall. And that helps that spore really start growing. So spring or fall is a great time to put down your milky spore.
So it's a powder and you just sprinkle it on?
It is a powder, and actually you just take a spoonful and drop it right into your yard. Okay. Let the spores all right there. Okay. Then they get wet and then they just start growing and go out. Right. It is definitely a powder. I mean, it's like, it looks like talcum powder. It's that lightweight.
That fine,
So,
yeah.
but a teaspoon covers a 3 to 4 square foot area. So I have long legs, so I usually start at the property line, I put a teaspoon down at my toe, and I take a big step, and a teaspoon down, and I just go
Keep
back
going.
and forth
Right.
across the customer's lawn, and get that milky spore down. You'll have little white dots all over your yard until it rains, or you could sprinkle it, irrigate your
Well,
lawn
that's
and let it
good
go.
for 10 years.
But
It's a
10
good
years.
investment.
Right,
Yes.
it really is. It's a great investment. And think of the time that it saves you. Every year people go out and put down usually 2 applications of a grub control, and you have to do it every single year because they have short-term kill time. Again, you're putting a chemical down on your yard that it says, do not let your pet or children walk on this product for
And we don't have to worry about this
This-
with the chickens, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or the
Right.
pets, yeah.
All of them can,
the
actually, I have put down milky spore for many customers while I ate my lunch because I, have something in my hand and I can just do multiple things. I can multitask. So milky spore is very safe. But if you have a lot of grubs, you also have a lot of Japanese beetles. And that's where the correlation comes in. If you have, basil, green beans, roses, the Japanese beetles love them.
Yes, they do.
If
They
you
love
get rid
the
of the
roses.
grubs, you won't have as many Japanese beetles. Now, sometimes your neighbors doesn't do anything and they still might,
Right.
But this is really going to help with the Japanese beetle issue as well as the grub issue in your lawn. And St. Gabriel's guarantees it for 10 years.
Nice.
And I have had better luck than 10 years. Because I fertilize organically. They do 10 years because if you fertilize synthetically, over time those salt-based synthetic fertilizers starts to break down the spore. So that's why they can only do 10 years.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. So now we're all prepared, getting everything ready for the winter time.
Right.
So we're good.
Right. So we're all set with fertilizations. If you have questions, you can always stop at the store or give me a call. We also have a Facebook page and everyone can
Right.
check us
So,
out
and
there.
you're open Monday
We're open
through
Monday
Saturday?
through Friday, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. and Saturdays 8 to 4.
Okay.
And we won't be open on Sundays till after Thanksgiving for Christmas trees.
Right, exactly. Okay, I get
I
it.
don't want to think about that yet. But
I know. Well,
Yeah.
let's just take care of fall right here.
Right.
And I wanted to thank Bloom Hill for my flowers.
Nice,
Are you
yeah.
familiar with Bloom
I
Hill?
am, yeah.
They're located on Lake Center, and they grow fresh flowers. They have
Mm-hmm.
a greenhouse, and they have I think it's just another 2 weeks for the month of September, where you can go in and pick your dahlias.
Oh,
And it's so nice. But my daughter had picked those up, and we went there last year, and they
Uh-huh.
have such great quality
Yeah,
flowers.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I put some Sweet Annie in there as well, as
I
you
love
can see.
Sweet Annie.
I love my Sweet Annie.
I love Sweet
yeah.
Annie. I have it growing all over the farm.
I know it comes up every year, which is great.
I
So if you
know.
need seeds, let me know.
Right, exactly. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I love the smell.
I do too.
And I'll pick it up and put it in my little crock as my entranceway.
Uh-huh.
So-
I love it. Actually, sometimes, it's stinky at the farm and I'll be like, oh my goodness. And so I'll just take Sweet Annie and rub it on
Oh,
my
yeah, that's a good
my
idea.
skin. I'll be like,
Yeah,
I smell so good now.
Good. Yeah, yeah. So, if you have any questions, like you said,
Right.
give you a call.
Right, they can give us a call. 330-455-5997 is our phone number. We have our Facebook page, Anthony Petitti Organic Greenhouse. Our website is petittisorganic.com. And all of our activities are on our website. And then I do make posts. We do have Instagram too. It's Petitti's Organic.
You're busy with the technology.
Yeah, well, my daughter was like, you have to do these things.
Well, yeah,
So I'm like,
exactly. Because
Okay.
I'm like you. I do my newsletter, and I host a TV show and see clients, and that's just enough for me right
I
now.
know.
It's a lot.
Social media is difficult to keep up
So
with. Yeah.
anyway, I forgot to mention we have a great newsletter on solving learning disorders for children.
Oh,
We have
wow.
NutriCalm, things of that sort. So I'll give you one of those as well.
That would be great.
So,
Thanks.
it's just interesting because there are supplements that we can use, like Focus Attention. NutriCalm is very calming as well for children, because a lot of the children get anxiety with school starting.
Oh, definitely.
And there's a lot of pressure on the children today.
Oh,
so
it is.
time to close because we're at 1 minute.
wow.
So anyway, thank you so
Great.
much for
Oh,
being on the
thanks for
show. We always have
having
a
me.
good time.
Thank you so much.
So everyone, be well. Enjoy the spring weather, and just remember, it's time to do a clean start, clean you up. Okay? Be well. God bless. Thank you. Thanks.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.